So, could be buddy. I know that everyone's doing...
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chasing Rank. Hopefully you are doing well. It is another Tuesday and we have another live chat for us all tonight. Hopefully you are doing well. With me, as always, is Dom and Damo. Fellas, how are we going?
Not too bad, Paulie. Not too bad, mate. And yourself. And Dom, how are you?
Fantastic. Good week on all fronts.
Yeah, I think this was one of the more interesting game weeks that we've had for a little while. So I'm very, very keen to get into it. Cow's already here in the chat saying hello, which is what we want to see. So let us know if you are already in the chat. Get in the chat. Get in nice and early because we want to try and boost our numbers up there as much as we can. We're already up to 4 likes, which is incredible. So let's kick it off. We've got a lot to go through tonight, and we're not going to dilly-dally. It is our favourite section here, and we've got my team up first this week, which hasn't happened for a while, but I was the only manager not to play a chip. So I'm going to black market and be happy enough that I was close enough.
As you should. If you plan a chip, you should outscore someone not playing a chip. So you're fine, Paul.
Yeah.
We'll give you a pass.
All right. So from my side, my highlights this week, Bruno is probably the one unique highlight that I've got from this week. 8-pointer, didn't hit his DC, came off a little bit early. I reckon if he stayed on the pitch for the 90, he probably gets the last 4 DC that he needs as well for an extra couple points. But again, I haven't seen heaps of this game. I've only seen like the 10-minute highlights, but he had a chance that really should have put on target as well. He dragged it to the right cop end as well, and would have been absolutely brilliant. I'm going to put my midfield as a highlight for the week. 5-4, 8-4. Just probably saved my week a little bit. Like, I got the Gabriel Raya Arsenal double up, and I've wanted that for a very, very long time. But 2 sets of DC from Anderson and Xhaka, and both of them hit 12. Xhaka being a trade-in for that Wolves fixture was brilliant as well. Got the clean sheet. Got the 5 points, which he's going to be a very good plug-and-play midfielder for me long-term as well. Was pretty happy with that. Yeah, 73 with the red arrows, life stuff. Yeah. Overall, it was a green arrow. It was about a 9,000 green arrow. But, you know, I think a lot of people were playing chips this week, whether it was wildcard or bench boost. So, you know, I said on last week's stream that I'm not surprised if I have a couple good weeks that don't, you know, return massively because I've played my chips already. So I'm okay with holding ground for the next couple of weeks because I don't think there's really many options for triple captain or wildcard until about game week 13 anyway. So I think the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks for my team's just going to be holding ground. So they're probably my 2 standouts. I think Gabriel, like I remember Damo, we were having the discussion a few weeks ago when you were making these transfers about Gabriel and his DCs, and he went and got 9 against Fulham as well. He is hitting it more than I thought he would, which is brilliant because with the goal threat, which is very nice for him to potentially, you know, start seeing some 15-pointers if he can get a goal in DC in games where Arsenal have got it locked away and they just sit in and let teams try and break them down. From the flops of my team, it's the 2 up front. For me, I think Gyökeres, Pedro. Gyökeres, again, had a couple chances, doesn't put them away. I feel like I've been saying that for the last month, but I'm just riding it. I'm just done with it. So just whatever. He can sit in my team. The fixtures for Arsenal are actually quite good for the next few weeks. He gets Palace at home, who aren't the best defensively. They are conceding XG because they're going forward, but I think Palace going away are going to sit in a little bit. But it might be a game that actually suits Gyökeres with the 3 centre-backs, and it might be a bit more physical. So I think they'll try and get the ball into his feet. Then you get Burnley, Sunderland, Tottenham, Chelsea, who all aren't defending great. Then you get Brentford, Villa, Wolves, Everton, Brighton, Villa again. So it's not the worst run. So I just think I'm just going to ride it with Gyökeres until I've got enough transfers to be able to restructure. João Pedro would be a different story if, what's the guy's name? Andre Santos. He gets slipped in one from João Pedro bang on halftime. If he scores that, João Pedro walks away with an assist, and I'm not complaining about him. But similar to Gyökeres, the fixtures are too good. The data's not great. I just think he's too good a player not to turn it around. I've only got one transfer, so I'm just happy with where I'm at. So that's my side. Next on the block is Dom on his wildcard team. Talk us through what you settled on, because there's one player here that's the difference between me being last and you being last.
So our deadline was 8:30 p.m. At 8:28 p.m., made a bit of a rash decision and bought in Nico. I think is his name Nico? I don't even know his first name.
Yeah, Nico O'Reilly.
Bought in O'Reilly instead of Timber. Don't know why I did it. Just wanted a bit of a point of difference, and boy, did it pay off. Got an assist, got a clean sheet, and what I liked about him, and this might be weird, he gets taken off in like the early 80th minute. So I kind of like that, where he kind of locks his clean sheet away and Pep brings him off. So if they concede a late, like, they're up 3-0, they concede one. I kind of like that about him, and he's really good going forward. And obviously he's a midfielder converted to a fullback, so great on the ball, has that like attacking instinct. And I just really liked the eye test the past couple of weeks, and yeah, kind of rolled with him, and rewarded me with 11 points and a 2 bonus. And then I also big fan of Mbeumo. Touching on that again, 8:28 came into my starting 11 for Enzo. No, sorry, he came into my starting 11 for Anderson at 8:28, 2 minutes before the deadline.
Yeah,
so those two transfers, the difference between 8 points there and then 2 points, it's 10 points. And I'm probably losing rank. I gained 300 rank because of it, so 300,000 rank. And then big shout out to my boy Nick Waldmade. I don't know, Paul. I don't know if you've seen the goal. Damo, you have.
Yeah.
What a goal! They
lost.
They lost. Whatever. Didn't have a defender. Didn't care. Paul, you got to see it. This guy, he's like,
I've heard about it.
However he is,
Little backheel flick thing.
Yeah, but he wasn't even looking at the goals. It's just he's nuts. I'm really enjoying watching him. And then my flops, you can kind of speak for themselves. I took it. I kind of expected it, but. Yeah, not loving the Arsenal attacking assets at the moment, but they're, like you said, their fixtures are too good. It's just
You did say Fulham was a hard game. I probably didn't give Fulham the credit at home as well.
Look at this whole season,
Yeah,
anyway, they
haven't had a good run. They haven't had the run starts now. Everyone's spoken about. Who was at West Ham last week? Was the first good fixture, and then Palace isn't great, but I think post Palace it's going to be good.
Yeah, and then João Pedro again. That's, I think, 6 games in a row without a contribution. Once again, same fixtures too good. He's got 4 games. Teams.
4 games in a row.
Oh, sorry.
He's gone 15, 9, 7, 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, maybe all
anyway, no, that's assists. Yeah, so game week 3 was his last goal. But once again, he's playing the 3 newly promoted. No, Wolves. They're not newly promoted, but they stink.
Oh, they're down the bottom.
They're down the bottom with a Spurs as well, who just can't keep a clean sheet for the life of them. So I was rolling. I've got 2 transfers still. Unsure what I'm going to do, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But on to the big man, Damo.
All right.
Let's go.
Here we go.
We need to just give some backstory. Damo's
I was going to say, I think we should just open it up with Paul explaining what Saturday night was like for him, because we were together on Saturday night.
Well, I had to experience it via messages, so the chat can experience it now. Let's just give them a quick rundown of Damo's pre-deadline meltdown.
I wish we could insert video clips on the StreamYard here, because Damo's reaction to Enzo not being in the squad was absolutely priceless. But it started an hour earlier when we're all out at dinner. Damo's got a headphone in, listening to some other deadline streams, trying to get a team leak, trying to get anything to show that Enzo was starting in order to play the bench boost, not to start Enzo, in order to pull the chip. And the piece of content that allowed Damo to rip this bench boost was the picture of Enzo getting off the bus with Caicedo. And the question was about both of them was one of them playing, was one of them not playing? And I said to Damo, Enzo's wearing flip-flops, so I don't like the sound of that. I actually said I like the sound of it initially. Yeah, I actually said I like the sound of it because I would go to games with my flip-flops and socks on with my kit bag, and that was more or less that I was playing anyway. So that alone was what was pushing Damo towards it. Then right up until the deadline, we really didn't have an answer. What you don't know, Dom, was we flipped a coin on my phone. Heads was bench boost. Tails was no bench boost. And it landed on heads. And Damo reluctantly flipped heads, put the bench boost on, and launched his phone across the living room of the house we were in. And that was that. And then Damo comes in to see all the boys filming him and find out Enzo's not starting. So you can take it away from here, Damo.
Thanks, guys. That is no word of a lie. I definitely did. I didn't like pelt my phone, but I did helicopter away. It. Yeah. I was meant to throw it onto a mat. I went past the mat. I gave it way too much. Anything.
Give me a like for the rendition of Saturday Night, guys, as well. We're at 13 likes already. Let's get it to 15 by the time Damo stops talking.
Yeah. Anyhow. Yeah, once I saw Enzo with the flip-flops, I was like, I would walk up the games in flip-flops. And he had his boots and that in his hand. So I was like, he wouldn't bring his boots if he wasn't playing or part of the squad. So I was like, at a minimum, he's going to get 1 point because I'll bring him off the bench. He's too important of a player to sit on the bench.
Mind you, fellas, we're saying how we rock up to games. We play division.
Hey, look, I used to rock up to a game with a chicken burger in my hand. So, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Anyhow. The most important part is the reason why I was filmed is I got that nervous about the bench boost that once the deadline passed, I had to go to the bathroom to relieve myself. So we spent 10 minutes in there without saying that Damo is number 2. We don't need to speak about that. But that's when I come out and the boys are filming. I literally said, Paul's like, come here, the teams are out. And I literally said, no one's filming me. That's a good thing. It means Enzo's starting. And then see my mate in the corner, hiding in the corner, filming me. And I was like, for freak's sake. And then once I realized he wasn't in the squad, I thought it was game week over. But he is one of those couple of fallers. The other faller for me this week was Anthony on my bench boost because I expected a lot more attacking wise from him, especially starting up front. Didn't really see too much.
And a 2-0 win too.
Yeah, I know. When they scored 2, you expect Anthony who's been like...
Granted, they didn't create much though. They only had 4 shots.
No. Yeah. But I expect him to be around the goal. So he's my other faller. The other faller for me is probably, look, it's a bit harsh, but Anderson. I played him over Alderete. Alderete had a flag because of the fact that I think just DC's a lock and Fulham been really good at home defensively. So I was like 3 points minimum. And then he gets injured and comes off and he may not be usable in game week 10 for Wolves. Now to go to the ballers, I obviously had Anthony, Enzo, and Alderete all flagged. Now, Paul, I will say, taught me to say Alderete and Anthony are going to start. It just depends on Enzo. So I ripped it. And, well, Alderete won off a DC point as well, but he looked great. There was no way I was going to get Mukiele in my team. So if you had him, well done. But great on the bench boost. The other person that we have to speak about here as well is Mr. Saka. Mr. Consistent, 90 minutes. If you've watched the game, you know he probably could have had a couple of assists. He could have had a goal. He was their main source of attacking threat in this game. And he goes and gets DC and bonus. Outrageous 7-pointer from him not even scoring. And then there is the man that I am waiting to talk about. I have owned him for quite a number of weeks in fantasy, and no one else does. He gets slated a lot because he's missed a lot of chances. When I owned Minoz, he missed every single chance. When I got rid of Minoz, he started scoring. And now, finally, Mateta Halls, 17 points. Thanks for coming. I'm actually disappointed. He should have won the game. He has missed a gilt-edged chance of the 90-something for 4. But yeah, great rank, 32K overall, game week rank. We're now into 170K from about 900K. So yeah, over the moon. What a bench boost. Probably arguably my best bench boost that I've played so far in my FPL career.
Love it. And 3 sets of green arrows for us this week. So that's probably the bigger news. So Welcome along to everybody that has joined whilst we were going through our sides. I know that does sometimes take a little bit of time. So this stream is a little bit more interactive. So get your questions in as we're going through, because we're going to do a little bit more of a review of the weekend's games and then a bit of an outlook into this weekend. Little bit of a flag as well that there is Champions League football starting tomorrow. So I'm just conscious that what we say tonight might not be the be all and end all if somebody goes and gets injured, and might change some situations and whatnot. So
out of our control.
All right, Doma, you take us away. Chelsea Forest. This led to an Ange Postecoglou sacking and an official Sean Dyche appointment this evening. So fire away as the resident Chelsea. I didn't even realise Gusto got sent off that in the second half.
Like 88 minutes. He's so stupid.
Yeah, it was like silly.
Okay.
Second yellow.
All right.
4 red cards or something like ridiculous
in a
the last. Yeah, something crazy, including 5 actually, because you had Maresca get sent off against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Including Champions League. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, tale of 2 halves really. First half, Forest they should have been 3-0 up. Like I don't know how they weren't. It was just like peppering, missing easy chances. We were gifting them like chances trying to play out. Gusto was in la la land. He had to play in midfield. Hopefully never have to see that again. Anyway, we make it to half time, and then bang, Forest just, I don't know what happened. I don't know what Ange said to him. Come out, Neto ball in the box, Achampong unmarked, just no one near him. Bang, header. 2 minutes later, Pedro Neto free kick, sells. I don't know what he's doing. Me and Damo, the resident keeper, even just said what was going on there.
Woeful.
It's genuinely coach killer, 100,000%.
Actual coach killer.
Absolutely. And then James, caps off a brilliant performance with a.
He looks a sneaky pick.
If he can stay fit, which he has been for almost
4 90s in a row.
Yeah, which is the first time he's done that in a really long time. And Maresca even commented on how fit he's been, which is great. And look, even though I support Liverpool, I would love to see Reece James fit. It's great for the Premier League. I think he's an absolute ball. He's probably arguably one of the best right backs in the world when he's on. So, and he's looked really good in the DM role. So maybe someone to think about in the future if he can contain this fitness. There was a good question though that came in from Superposition about.
I'm just putting it back on only because it blocks your face, Damo.
Yeah, all good.
100%. Guyu came on half time, and you could see the difference, like having a natural number 9 up there. So I think you'll see some minutes from him going forward. I think you'll honestly see a start in the coming weeks. I don't be surprised, especially with that run and the Champions League and the cup competition starting, leading into Christmas. So if you've got him, he's a sneaky shout. If you can nail when he's going to start, they just look so much better.
What does it mean for Pedro?
He just moves to the 10 role. Palmer's out for this run here anyway. So
which is, I actually think Pedro in the 10's a lot better as well. So that would be something that would make me as an owner want to hold him. There's a world where I really do want to move for Mateta, and Haaland's not going. So it means I got to go Gyökeres or Pedro to Mateta. And there is a question about Mateta, and I'll get to it later. But yes, that's what I'm looking at. Again, Damo on Forest with Dyche, early thoughts. We've had probably 24 hours to digest that.
Yeah, look, I would wait and see yet again. Firstly, I think...
Wouldn't touch their players.
I wouldn't, not right now, right? It's weird to know what's going to happen there because they clearly sacked Nuno because they didn't believe that Marinakis didn't believe that he could produce the football he wants played at his football club. Then he gets a manager that he believes that can, and then realizes the squad can't play that football. To be fair, there's a lot of stats out there that actually says that Forest probably should have scored quite a number of goals and probably won a few of their matches. Dom and me both agree that they should have been 3-0 up at halftime in this game. I think anyone with a half a footballing brain as a director of football or a director of football club probably wouldn't have sacked Ange after seeing what they produced in that first half. Anyhow, not the question. But now that they bring in Dyche, it's clearly, we're in trouble. We're going to go back to a more defensive system. Or he's gone, I'm going to appoint you because I think you're the best manager I can get, but you must play this attacking football. And I don't know if Dyche can do that. It's going to be one of those two.
It's such a weird one.
I would wait.
It's 4-4-2 low block.
I would wait and see. If it's 4-4-2 low block, Chris Wood, Milenkovic, and Murillo will all come back into fruition.
And Anderson.
Anderson, I think, was good no matter what, because his DC is just
he's
so
quality.
good no matter what. It didn't matter what system. I think it's not the place I would go, and there's so much better value with more
I wouldn't be buying
quantity of players.
Yeah.
But if they do, and you got to remember, Dyche got sacked from Everton because he couldn't do it defensively. If they come back and are really good, and I think Dyche is a really good manager in that sort of system, they will be an option later down the line, not right now.
Yeah, perfectos. All right, I don't think there's much more to really cover on this one. Brighton, Newcastle, Danny Welbeck at the double. You know, Damo, you started with him last year. I think my only issue with Brighton is this. They've got 2 young Greek strikers on the bench. At some point, one of them's got to come in because Jorginho Ruta is going to be the 10. I love Minte as a pick. I've been saying it for weeks. Again, didn't have the returns this week, but again, 11 DC playing from right wing. He's going to have weeks where he gets double-digit points with an assist in DC, and you know he's going to do it different ways. And there's going to be a period where I really think Semenyo could be my highest priced midfielder very soon, and be filled with Sarr, Minte, Xhakas. You know, I mean maybe Saka, but I think there's other. You know, do you do the triple? If you do the triple Arsenal defense and back the clean sheets that way, and go the cheaper midfielders, and then sort of you've got more money to spend up front, there might be a world where second half of the season we want strikers. I really like some of these 6.5 to 7 million midfielders. As Dom's already mentioned, Voltemade has done his job. Dan Burn goes and gets DC, but frustrating, the yellow card, you know, kind of takes a bit of that away. Yeah, negates it slightly, which is a bit annoying. You know, Nick Pope misses out on his save point by 1, I think, as well. So he maybe got the save point because otherwise he would have got 1 point. So maybe he got a save point. But Newcastle, I think they're going to be all right. Brighton's one of those sides that are a bit hit and miss. They're not a great away fixture to target. They're not a bad one if you've got them at home. But is there anything I'm missing there, or should we just move straight through?
Not too much. I think the one thing I would say is Welbeck, whenever he does start, is really good value in fantasy. And if they could guarantee us that he is starting for quite a while, which I think in the form he's in, that's going to happen, he could be a pretty good asset alongside owning a Minte.
Yeah, I think Matoma injured at the moment. I think he is. Yeah. Because he didn't play. So I think Brighton going forward is always going to be a good option, but I don't know. I just something about Brighton this year that I'm not fully sold on. Damo, you talk us through Burnley and Leeds because this game's what single-handedly boosts you up the ranks.
Look, to be fair, this game boosts me up the ranks, but anxiety-inducing when you're trying to support Burnley. I had this on my second screen along with Goal Rush on the TV, so I can keep an eye on this game. If you had a Leeds asset, you're very unlucky, is what I would say. Burnley did not create much. Leeds dominated in large spells, and I thought the likes of a Goodmanson or anyone really in Leeds moving forward really had their moments on a different day. I think if you are looking for a fantasy takeaway in this game, is the likes of an Estev, the likes of a Dubravka, the likes of anyone like that. They're going to be good value from Burnley because they're just going to be under the cosh so often. And when they do keep a clean sheet, they're going to get quite a number of points. Important to know, I did mention it briefly, Anthony did start up front with the current injuries that are currently going on and with Lyle Foster out. That might continue moving forward too, and he might be pretty good value in that 5.5 midfield range as a midfielder playing out of position as well. Something to note. But yeah, if you have a Leeds asset, don't be too concerned. I would still bench boost with those Leeds assets in game week 9. They looked really good, just really unlucky this game week.
Yeah, I think someone to talk about is Florentino. He's averaging something stupid like 15 DCs a game. And he came in late in the preseason and didn't start all that well. But it's just gone nuts. He had 16 this week as well. So someone, if you don't want to go Granit Xhaka, sorry, I'm just grabbing my charger, so that might have sounded a bit weird. He's someone you could consider. Like, I wouldn't mind doing a deep dive on Kyle Walker because I'm assuming he's playing a little bit more of a defensive role now at Burnley versus going forward. But DC and assist is very, very solid. Palace and Bournemouth. Dom, I'm assuming you've seen this one. Kick us off on your thoughts.
Mayhem. Absolute mayhem. Actually, Damo should be taking this with the resident Mateta owner.
Look,
I'll pass it on to you, mate.
Absolute mayhem and greed. What a game. By the way, there was a leak that came out before the deadline that Krupi Jr. was going to start. Evan Nielsen was not going to play. If you haven't seen it, Let's Talk FPL Barber told him that, hey, he ain't starting because he also cuts Evan Nielsen's hair. And Evan Nielsen came in for his haircut this week and said, I have an ankle injury. I'm not playing. You take me out of your fantasy team. So if you get that sort of leak, maybe trust it. But yeah, Krupi Jr. Scored couple goals for France's under 21s in the international break, comes in, scores a brace. Yep. I think he'll be the best 4.5 mil sort of striker moving forward, unless Guiu's like nailed, as Paul's just trying to recalibrate his camera there, as you guys can see with the charger. It's not playing ball. But I really think Krupi Jr. moving forward could be the best 4.5 mil and a great way into the team. I think from what we saw with Krupi Jr. towards at least second half of this season, he will start with Evan Nielsen in that side and Semenyo, etc. And I think he'll just be nailed on for minutes at 4.5. I think he's going to start next week. So if you need a cheap striker for a bench boost, Krupi Jr. is the one. And then, yeah, obviously, Palace just don't know how to quit. They are a world-class side at the moment. I'm not saying they're a world-class team, just a world-class side. They know how to score. They don't know how to lose. They'll find a way when they're playing bad to score goals to get draws. They should have won this game. And they don't give up.
Only made one sub.
Yeah. Like,
and Ketchup was the only sub.
Glasgow knows what he's doing with this team. If you haven't seen the Mateta chances, there's one in the 97th minute that look, Dom's an actual striker, so he would have scored. So Paul actually plays in the part. I would have scored and I'm a keeper. But Mateta and his face tell you all about it that he missed. In terms of everyone else, DC for Minoz.
Mateta had 14 shots as well, man. That's
it's nuts.
Crazy.
Mateta now has just behind Haaland for XG. And Mateta's been getting all these chances. I really think, don't get him this week, but you want to be tripled up on Palace in game week 11 onwards. They look that good. They look that good that I think they're finishing top 6 this year, and wouldn't surprise me if they finish 4th.
Wow. Big call.
Big call, but that's what that looks like. Munoz looks great. I mentioned him very briefly. Got DC again. Super aggressive. I started with him for this reason.
God, I miss him.
He's gone on a massive run. So if I don't own Munoz, good time to own him. But yeah, look really good. I wouldn't worry too much about Bournemouth defensively. This was just a crazy game of football. They're going to happen. Senesi and Co will be fine. I will say, great decision from Jared Gillett not to send him off, though. Because I've never seen a referee get told to go to VAR and then for the referee to stay with his actual decision. So good on Jared Gillett for not sending off Senesi. It would have been a very harsh red. But yeah.
Before we move on, I just want to bring up a point that Cow's making. So if I go share this tab instead. Crystal Palace's fixtures, obviously Arsenal away this. What is going on with my camera? Sorry. Is that better? A little bit.
Yeah, you're good there.
There we go. All right. Arsenal away this week. Sucks. Brentford at home. Brighton at home. Wolves away. Man United at home. Burnley away. Fulham away. City at home. Leicester away. Tottenham, Fulham at home. Newcastle away. Villa home. Sunderland away. Chelsea home. Forest away. Brighton away. Burnley home. Wolves home. Man United away. Tottenham away. Leeds home. Man City away. Newcastle home. What is that run?
It's great fixtures. Yeah.
You just play them every single game.
This is why I'm tempted to get a third Palace asset in game week 11.
I don't have bloody any.
Probably a defender.
I don't have any. So if I don't have any, I will have 2 transfers next week, and they're probably both going on Palace assets. It's hard. I think Mateta would be the last that I'll buy because I can live with Gyökeres and what's his name, Pedro. So if Mateta's the last I buy, it's fine. But I think Sarr in and Munoz in. But again, how do you make that happen financially? It's Tarkovsky's got to go, but then I got to make money in order to get. So it's like Bruno Fernandes probably has to go to Sarr in order for me to turn someone into Munoz. And my defense is stacked. So it's like a Dan Burn probably goes up to a Munoz, which I don't love either. So things to consider, but I feel like the only Palace players you'd want to bring in ideally would be Munoz, Sarr, and Mateta. I don't think you'll want anyone else. If you have to skimp on the defense, it's Chris Richards, but I still don't love it. He had 15 DC in this game, though. Like,
Yeah.
he is just a beast. Oh, he is an absolute beast of DC. Like, Laquire had 7. I love Chris Richards, so, he could be my in if Anderson's out long term. It could be Richards in for Anderson, and that's an easy buy. So I think that's what I would do. So Harry has, I've got a good comment here on the way through. So hopefully that answered Jackie's question. Planning to have Mateta game week 10, already have Sarr and Richards. Would rather have Munoz over Richards. I think if you got Richards, you just hold Richards because Munoz will have games like he has the last few weeks where he will, not get DC and not get an attacking return, but Richards will just churn over these DCs. So I have to make that decision if I go Richards or Munoz. I probably end up going Richards because I'll probably need money to do things, or I just try and just go Bruno Fernandes out of my team, which I don't love. But if it's for Ismail Assar, then I don't mind it. So that's what I'm thinking, but who cares what I think? So Man City, Everton, Erling Haaland at the double. Again, captain fantastic. Erling Haaland, O'Reilly with the assist. Everton, Tarkovsky, 13 DC. Thanks for coming, mate. Didn't need him this week, but I'm very happy having him in my side. He is a start 75% of the time, pretty much. Play him in every possible fixture at home and every away fixture except for probably Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. So, again, they get Jack Grealish back this week. Did our boy get DC this week? What did Enjoy? Far out. You know what?
He's good.
17.
4 weeks ago, I made the call, Enjoy versus Grealish, and I went Grealish. That has cost me so much because Enjoy has scored 1 extra goal, I think, than Grealish. I think Enjoy's had 2 and Grealish has scored 1 in that time. But Enjoy's hit DC 3 times, I reckon, since I've owned Grealish. And Grealish was looking like the one who was going to get DC because he got 11 and 11 the 2 weeks prior to me bringing Grealish in. That has absolutely hurt me. I'm not going to make that move now from Enjoy to Grealish, but that one on my wild card really stung. He is a freak, and he's on penalties.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on this game, fellas?
I think if you have an Everton asset, you're pretty happy. I thought Everton were fantastic. I know they got beat 2-0. You watched the game. Everton took it to City. Everton had chances to score. Beto, if he was any decent striker, probably should have scored. But he's not. And that's all they really lack is probably a proper 9. They are looking really, really good under Moyes, like, ancient Moyes under Everton good. So, yeah, I think if you have a Everton asset, you're pretty happy, even if it is Grealish. I know he always ends up assisting the guy at the back stick. So that is NDI, who I think is the best asset to own out of all the Everton assets. But even if it is Grealish, even if you own Dewsbury Hall, whoever it is, you're pretty happy in owning him and they'll do pretty well.
Yeah. I'm very happy owning Grealish. As I said last week, he got the international break off. Plus, he got the game off against City. So, for someone like a Grealish who does have body concerns and had played 6 games of 87 minutes or more, I'm very happy with that. Damo, do you want to answer Harry's question? Because I was about to bring that up. Read it out.
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, I think if you've got Foden, you probably want to hold him because he's getting the 90 minutes. He's actually creating quite a lot too. For Haaland specifically, Haaland just doesn't seem to finish when it is Foden. Foden even brought up in his press conference. But they are definitely linking, and it seems like Pep's really happy in playing Foden. He goes on these runs, and it seems he's on this run of minutes. So I wouldn't go out your way to sell. In terms of the players you mentioned, if Enzo is fit, right, this week, they come in, he gets minutes off the bench in the Champions League, and that means he's going to start against Sunderland. You are 100% going Enzo is the bee's knees in terms of assets, and I would almost do it because it would fund you up. Would free up funds. Bruno or Grealish / NDI in terms of moving them on, moving Foden to one of them. I think it's a bit too sideways as much as I would really rate Everton. I just think Enzo is that good of an asset. It's probably a not bad move to drop Foden down to Enzo because Enzo's going to be nailed. Palmer's out for 6 weeks. Penalties, very attacking. I am very disappointed he didn't get to play against Forest. But it's the
only issue with Enzo if Guiu starts and then Pedro plays in the 10 and then Enzo goes back to the 8.
Even then, that means Sasado just sits and Enzo just pushes on like he's been doing anyway. So I think that's fine.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Sunderland Wolves time, I think. Who wants to take this one? What a thriller.
Oh, mate, Mukiele, what a goal. I wish it was Alderete. But Mukiele bombing on. Unreal.
He's
in terms
crazy.
Of, he is. And you know what? There's two things to take out of this game. A, Sunderland are very well organised and know what they're doing, and they got some big boys that will head everything away, right? Secondly, right, and the big thing to take away, Wolves are going down, and they're going down without a trace. They're the team that we should be targeting this year.
Yeah,
They
the
are
biggest target fixture in previous years,
we
like
thought about
Southampton.
all these relegation, these newly promoted sides, the ones like Leeds, Burnley, you name it. They seem capable on their day. I still think, City will slap Burnley, City will slap Leeds. They are Wolves, without a doubt, the worst side in the comp that we've seen or in the Prem this year.
Yeah,
you have
definitely.
to target them. You have to target them. I know they're about to go on a good run of fixtures. I wouldn't go anywhere near them. They're going to concede in pretty much all their games. Strud Larsen's getting no chances. Target them for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you there. And Burnley have them this week. That's a huge game. That is absolutely massive. Shorty firing up Anthony this week.
Yeah, Anthony's in my starting 11. Hub wants me to start Sarr and Mateta against Arsenal. I don't know if I'm going to start Sarr or Mateta, but Anthony is starting for sure against
Spurs. No, like it. Interesting question about Roos. I don't know how I feel about that. I know he's going to get save points. He's going to get clean sheet points. I don't know. They're going to keep enough clean sheets away from home. They'll probably keep enough at home, but I don't know. I feel like it's hard. Like, we look at goalkeepers like Jordan Pickford of the past that go and be the top goalkeeper. Maybe there's something to it. The combination of saves and clean sheets maybe is enough.
I'm actually going to go out on a limb here, Harry, and it's a bit different view than you're going to get anywhere else. He's going to be the top goal scoring keeper this year by a mile. Couple reasons, right? Firstly, from a goalkeeping point of view, and I watch him as a goalkeeping coach, outrageous shot stopper. That save against Bruno Fernandes 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Might be save of the year, right?
He currently is the number one scoring goalkeeper.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
5 points ahead of Pope.
Secondly, even though they have guys that will head the ball away, like Ballard, Hume, Alderete, Mukiele, all these guys, he will come and demand a cross. So he's really good there too. The thing is, I think Sunderland are that well organised. They remind me of Brentford with Flecken, where all their shots are being just channeled to the keeper from distance because you can't break him down. Or they're these looping headers and whatever, and he just makes saves. And if he makes this couple of flashy saves, he's going to get his save points. He's going to be on bonus if they win 1-0. I think he is the bee's knees. He's arguably my biggest mistake on my wild card was not going Roofs in goal and Timber with my third Arsenal spot.
Instead of Alderete.
Yeah. I think Roofs is an outrageous keeper. I would almost say you should probably have Roofs and one of Mukiele or Alderete in your team and play him in every good fixture.
So I'm just looking at his saves across the season. So 4 against West Ham in a win, 0 against Burnley, which is interesting, 3 against Brentford, 6 against Palace, 1 against Villa, 6 against Forest, 4 against United, 3 against Wolves. So you probably want the save numbers to be averaging that 4 to 6 range a little bit more. But when I say some of the teams... Pardon?
He's averaging just over 3, which I think is perfect.
Yeah, which is fine. And a lot of that is in games that aren't hard. Like, they've played Wolves, Forest, Brentford, Burnley, West Ham. So 5 of their games have been competitive games. Yep. It now goes into Chelsea, Everton, Arsenal, Fulham, Bournemouth. What you're more looking for is, can he get those 3 saves every single week and protect the score in the games where they concede 2 or 3? But can he also pair it with 3 or 4 or 5 saves and a clean sheet for like a 12-pointer? That's the combination question.
I think he will in lots of games this season.
Look, it's something that I'm also considering freeing up money out of Raya. I think 5.6 million for my goalkeeper is a lot, and I'd much rather save $1 million and get similar production and then put the extra Arsenal slot onto the pitch that can get clean sheet, DC, or goals, is my thought.
I definitely agree. I know K7 has brought up a point about Raya to Roofs in game 12.
I didn't even see that.
I wouldn't go out your way to sell Raya. They have the best defense in the league. He's going to turn over a lot of 6-pointers.
But I think we get Timber as part of that, though.
Yeah, right. I understand that too. But I wouldn't look. Goalkeeper transfers are always a little bit sideways because look, it doesn't. There's not usually a massive outscoring, if it's part of like 3 or 4 transfers, I think it's really good. I'm thinking of making this move in like game week 15 when we get, or 16 when we get the 5 free transfers and we have African Cup of Nations and we get to restructure a little bit. I think then we would have seen Sunderland get some of the bigger cards by then, by memory, if we look at their fixture run. And we maybe might be able to get him in. The thing is if Roofs and Dubravka pair up really well as a rotation, you've got a 4.5 and a 4, and that's really nice.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. So, look, it's something I'm definitely considering. I think, like, we were complaining at the start of the year, there's no 4.5 million goalkeepers that we wanted, and it was frustrating. The funny thing is, if I look at the top scoring goalkeepers, you've got Roofs in at 48 points at 4.6. You've got Pope in at 5.2, Raya, Vicario, Pickford. So it's actually Dubravka of all people.
Wow.
Like, you know, and they're miles off. So it's like it's Roofs was not someone anyone would have been looking at game week 1.
No.
And then it's Pope, Raya, Vicario, Pickford. Like it is all premium goalkeepers. So I don't think we can turn our nose up to it now with 8 weeks worth of data, personally. So I'm very much keeping my eye on that. Fulham Arsenal, again, I'll take this one. What is going on my tripod? I don't think there's a whole lot to take out of this game with Arsenal getting the job done. Gabriel with a nice flick on for all of us owners. And Fulham, we are awaiting information from Anderson's hamstring injury. But with Newcastle away this week, I don't think we would have played him anyway.
I think it's a few weeks.
So,
Hammy, generally a few weeks.
Yeah, so if he misses a few weeks, it's annoying because he misses Wolves at home in game week 10, Everton away in 11.
I think he's still a hold just
he's 100% a hold.
For Wolves, but that's so annoying.
100% a hold. No, he's 100% a hold because, you know, we should have defenses that can cover that or midfielders that can cover that for a fixture or two. So,
it would have been nice to have, though.
Yeah, but there's enough other good fixtures around, so we'll live with it. So, not the end of the world. I don't think we need to cover anything else. Spurs, Villa, one of the games I did watch. Spurs could have been 2-0 up very early, and that would have been a good night for Villa. And like that goal from Rodgers was something else, wasn't it? That's just a quality finish.
Even their second goal, who is it? Matty Cash sprays that volley 50, 60 yards. Digne brings it down, touch, flick over. Buendia, ball moves from his preferred right foot, left foot, cross keeper. Just a beautiful football goal. And he's been on fire lately, Buendia. The Villa, if you could nail those assets, they just look like there's no one really every single week. Like it was a couple of weeks ago, it was Malin. Before that was Buendia. Now it's Buendia again. Now it's finally Rodgers.
No Harvey Elliott. That hurt.
Ouch, Paulie.
No,
that one hurt.
Yeah. And then honestly, Palinha's been a really good pick. Friend of the pod, Russo's had him for a few weeks and pulls out another 9-pointer and almost had a goal as well. You know, gets 16 DC. Been a tidy pick there, Palinha. Been a great signing for him. But yeah, standard Spurs.
Thoughts, Damo?
Yeah, look, would agree. I think Paulini is actually a pretty interesting pick. He's kind of like Xhaka, in my view. And so, you know, he probably can get the same thing for cheaper, but he's looked really good. I think Villa were too good to continue the very woeful start that they had in the season, which no one would have saw. I think at some point, and I know this is going to sound crazy, guys, at some point Watkins will become an option again when they start scoring. But Rodgers has proved, is now a couple of hauls in a row for Rodgers, that he is quality, and quality players in good fixtures or against teams that can't really defend as well will score points eventually. And we're seeing it now, and Villa's starting to click.
100%.
And I think, remember their good fixture run. It'll come back in second half of the year. Don't be scared to go on these assets. You put this game as a little bit of an asterisk right on a piece of paper. Oh, they look good in these couple of fixtures. It's starting to turn. Be ready to bring them in when their fixtures turn.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think with Europe, they're just going to get back their mojo. 2 games to go before we talk about our sides as well. Before we get into that, Damo, do you want to talk through the
I just
Dubravka
put it in
Roos
there
rotation.
because they were talking about Roos in the chat. Yeah, like this is the next 6 weeks. You get Dubravka against Wolves, you get Roos against Everton, you get Dubravka against West Ham, you get Roos against Fulham, you then get Bournemouth or Brentford home/away, Roos or Dubravka, and then you get Palace with Roos. I think at the end it might be Dubravka, not sure. And that seems to be now. Look, that's only on Fantasy Football Hub next 6, but it seems to be the consistent theme moving forward. So I think definitely pairing up Roos for 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, whatever he's worth now, and a 4.0 with Dubravka, who is scoring really well, and take the money out of Raya to free up a third Arsenal spot for Timber is very viable. It's that viable that I have 4 free transfers and it looks very tempting this week.
Yeah, I really want to make a lot of this happen. I am, as you can probably tell by looking at me, playing around with things. And with 5 transfers, what would you say if you saw someone's team looking something along the lines of this? For those listening, Roos, Dubravka, Gabriel, Timber, Senesi, Anderson, Byrne, Xhaka, Saka, Sarr, Grealish, Semenyo, João Pedro, Haaland, Mateta.
Looks good. I'm
not going to make a minus 16, but I'll have to prioritize when certain moves happen with this side, obviously. If I was to do that, obviously, are you moving a Gyökeres out? There's a Bruno Fernandes out. There's Tarkowski who comes out, which isn't ideal, but that's where the Timber move comes in from. Who else am I looking at? Saab was Bruno. Saka was Elliot Anderson. Mateta was Gyökeres. Timber was Tarkowski. And Roos was Raya. So, I would much prefer to have that side. Yes, I'm not going to do a minus 16. I am going to keep my current side. But if it means over the next few weeks, I've only got 1 free transfer at the moment. So this week that I planned is to roll. I don't want to just make transfers for the sake of making transfers, because in order to start doing that, it'd have to be a Bruno or a Gyökeres have to go first in order to get the money moving. And it might be that next week I've got 2 transfers in the bank and I make the first one. So it might be, all right, I'll keep Bruno for Brighton, but for Forest and Tottenham, maybe it's time to go. And it's Sarr, you get in early. Then the next week, you've got Gyökeres. You want to keep Gyökeres for Burnley away, maybe not Sunderland away. So then maybe it's the Gyökeres Mateta move. So then you've got a heap of money, still got 2 transfers. Then you do the double switch Arsenal, depending on what they go in 3 weeks' time. So Arsenal go Sunderland away. You might want to target that. So then you go into Timber out of Raya, but then you might not want Roos that week. So then maybe you hold that off another week. So you get Roos with a better fixture. So there's all fun. And as we're talking about that, is the Arsenal defense a long-term hold? Yes, they are.
Put it this way: when I'm looking through like Fantasy Football Hub, this is the AI wildcard team for this week. If you were to wildcard, Dubravka starting. Yeah, bring it up. And like, it is crazy that we're having this chat. We have not seen this. I just clicked on it to say, hey, I wonder what the AI is predicting. What we have just said.
Oh, right, my team was very similar to that.
What we have just said is, we can't see it, Paul, because you're still in the fixture for Liverpool and for the other one.
That might help.
Yeah, there. What we just said is what's happening. Roofs and Dubravka as a rotation. Gabriel and Timber. Senesi. NDI, who we've already discussed about because he's so good for DC in those harder fixtures.
Minte.
Yeah. Minte, Saka. They're tripling up on Sunderland because they know Mukiele and Alderete for 4.0 and 4.1 are going to start play, get DC most weeks. They're going to have 3 points as a thing. That is really crazy. It's even still playing Guiu. I would try and find the extra point too to get to Junior Krupi, personally, and triple up.
Might be a Minte comes out for someone.
Yeah. Maybe goes down to Xhaka, and that frees Xhaka Mill.
You wouldn't be able to with Mukiele and Alderete, but would you want to triple up on Sunderland defense though? But
then you just move to one of the other 4.0.
Florentino.
Right?
Florentino.
Yeah, it all works. Yeah, it all works. So it's very interesting that we're having that chat and we're just thinking about it analytically. And then the wild card 9 is like the AI's gone, you know what? Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Off we go. Am I going to go and waste 2 transfers to get Raya out for Crystal Palace to bring Timber in? And for Crystal Palace, I think Palace are probably going to score in this game. I know Arsenal are really good. I think Palace are that good going forward. So maybe, but am I going to bring Roos in for Chelsea? I might have to start the Dubravka away to Wolves, which isn't the worst.
I'm just going to quickly bring up post-Arsenal, the Sunderland fixtures, because this is, if I'm going to... I keep forgetting to do this. All right. I'm just using Xhaka as the placeholder because he's in my team, right? I don't particularly want Roos for Chelsea or Arsenal. Like, he might get saves, but he could also concede 3 or 4. Like, does it happen? Maybe not. But one of those games is at Stamford Bridge. The other one is at home. I actually think the Arsenal at home game is not a bad one, Damo, because I feel like Arsenal's the kind of team that are going to score 1 or 2 and just kind of do their thing and not, go and put the foot down away from home. If this was at Emirates, no chance would I want a bar of Roofs. But at Stadium of Light, I don't mind it. If you're telling me I get Roofs, the only period I don't love Roofs is 14 and 15. But then if you've got Dubravka in 14 and 15 playing against Crystal Palace and Newcastle, that's probably the one period where it's not fantastic. But you have to just play the home fixture. So Crystal Palace at home for Dubravka's fine. And please tell me the second week is at home to City. It's away. So you just pick your poison. You probably go with Roofs, to be fair. I actually think Sunderland's defence has looked really, really good. I think they're one of the better defences in the league statistically at the moment. But then you get City twice there, but at least you get them out of the way because then the back end run isn't the worst. And it feels like the Sunderland bad games are coming in twos. So as long as you can just find a rotation later in the season that gets you out of that, then I think it's fine because, it's not the worst end to the season. Like, there's going to be save points. There's going to be the odd clean sheet points, and away you go.
Never thought I would have spoken about goalkeeper so much, but it is becoming viable. It's 4.6 to 5.6. It is $1 million saving. Yeah. You're telling me that you have Anderson who is injured. You can go Raya down to Roofs. Anderson who's injured for Timber, which I can do this week. By the way, leaves me 0.1.
No, Timber's a bit much.
Yeah, it's fine. I just did it on my thing. I got 0.1 in the bank. I got 0.5 in the bank.
But you've got money in the bank, though.
Yeah, I do. I have 0.5 in the bank. If I do those 2 moves, I'd have 0.1 at the moment, right? So I can even go for a price rise if I wanted to. I almost think it's nearly worth it because Timber's just so attacking as well when you watch Arsenal play too. It just depends on when he gets benched. And like when I look at my team,
eventually
he will. When I look at my team, I don't know who I would start Timber over. Because Senesi plays Forest.
This week everyone's at home.
So it's difficult, and I don't want to really drop Semenyo. I don't want to drop Saka. Maybe I go and be brave and be like, Arsenal have the best defense in the league. I bench Mateta and Sarr. And just pray.
Like
Pardon?
I don't like that. I think Mateta's got to play minimum.
Yeah, correct. So am I really doing it this week? So, yeah.
Let's go. We've got 2 games to go, and then we'll talk teams, and then we'll get out of here. So, Liverpool, Man United. Do we have to talk about this one?
Yes.
I don't know. This is our season from last year, honestly. Like, we've got so much change, so many transfers up front, new shape, new system. Salah's going to probably leave at the end of the year anyway. Bit of a transition time for the club. Had plenty of chances. You can't say we didn't have chances. It's not like Mamadashvili had to make a heap of saves either. Bruno misses one. There's no other real chances that stand out to me from what I saw. United took theirs really well, and Buemo's goal was brilliant. I actually thought that was a really well-taken finish, and Maguire's header was actually a really good header. Disappointing, though, that normally when we get an equaliser in that manner, we typically kick on at home. But we'll get there. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
Definitely.
Any other thoughts?
From a fantasy perspective, you got a United asset. You're definitely holding him through this. I think in Buemo and Bruno are definitely long-term holds. Cunha started, so if you do have him somehow, you're holding him as well. Their fixtures are not too bad. Looks like they got a decent keeper finally as well.
Yep.
I still wouldn't touch any of their defenders. They still look a bit too open. But yeah, I definitely think you got one of Bruno and Buemo or Cunha. You're definitely holding long term. If you have a Liverpool asset, their fixtures do turn. You would hope the form comes back. I really think if you own Isak, you definitely have an easier hold because I think he's ready to start every game and we need the wins now in the league. So he's just going to play every league game. I will say this sounds a bit weird. I'm waiting for our good fixture to come around and see how Wirtz is being used because I think Wirtz would be a crazy differential from game week 13 onwards if he is in the team looking better. He's got that return under his belt so he can get going. I really think for his ownership, you're going to get a great player at less than $8.5 million in game week 13 beyond when the fixtures really turn. which might be not a bad thing as well. But yeah, I wouldn't go out your way to buy a Liverpool player yet, but just keep remembering that one of the best teams in the league on a crazy run of fixtures from game week 12, 13 onwards. So have a plan to get them back. We wouldn't go anywhere near them.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Don't be shocked if Frimpong starts playing a little bit out wide. How's that ball right at the death as well? That I think it was Gakpo, fires the header wide. That ball from Frimpong was bloody wild, and it wouldn't surprise me if he actually sees some time playing as the right winger. I expect Slot to start experimenting with the right wing before Salah goes to AFCON as well. So I'm not saying to buy Frimpong, but just something that stood out.
Amazing.
And speaking about great balls into the box, how's Bruno's for the winner?
Yeah, great ball.
Yeah.
That's just an absolute pluck. Damo, I think you're the only one that actually watched this today.
Yeah, I watched it live. If you own a West Ham asset, interesting time. They didn't even look like getting out of first gear or looking like they wanted to attack. Owning Bowen, going to a really good fixture at home, I was really excited. And then watching Nuno basically keep 10 men behind the ball and not do much. Looked like they missed a focal point up top. So interesting. Bowen's definitely someone that I'll give it a couple more weeks because they have some really good fixtures and he's really good differential. And he looked good. When he got service, he looked fantastic. He was by far the best player on the pitch. However, what I would say with this is, if you own any other West Ham asset, I don't think it's a great time to own them. It'd be interesting to see what Nuno can do moving forward. Thiago is the big standout from Brentford. He just looks so good. He's so strong. He bodies people off. He knows where the goal is. Very unlucky to have the second goal ruled off offside. Was only offside by this much because his back heel was trailing behind him. And definitely, I think the meta, and I know Superposition and me were talking about this in chat last week. The meta is definitely moving to Haaland up front with two cheaper strikers, so you can get all these assets, midfield and co. And I think the meta is moving towards Haaland with Mateta after this run of fixtures and a Thiago. I think it will eventually move to Haaland, a Thiago, and a cheaper 4.5 striker like Krupi.
Yep,
be starting by then.
Thoughts, Tom?
Okay, maybe Gw9. I'm agree. I heavily agree with that, but I'm going to back in my boy Walter Mardo.
Yeah. And look, I still think I'm saying that's what we'll move to eventually. I think getting the striker in at the right time is really good, but we just need to be careful who we're selecting. Like after watching West Ham properly for the 2 times in 2 weeks, don't really look like getting going. Like Bowl will show a moment. You're like, oh my word! I wish Bowl would move to a different Premier League club. He'd be an insane asset. But
he will.
Yeah, I think be wary of these teams in a relegation fight unless they're like a Thiago, who is clearly the main man on penalties. Everything's going through him. West Ham aren't even good enough to get to that stage. I really think at the moment, for what we're seeing, West Ham and Wolves are the 2 teams that look more likely going down than anyone.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Before we start answering questions, we are sitting at 16 likes. Damo set the target to 20 for tonight, so let's make sure we get there. There you go. There's Dom writing it in the chat as well at the same time. Let's get that 20 up. We'll go through a few questions as well because, a few have been coming in. First one here, Njai or Enzo. Personally, I'm going to go Njai. I think we know the role. We know DC. We know the penalties are locked. Yes, he's playing the worst team, but I'm going Njai.
What's their run like? What's Everton's run like?
It's okay.
Enzo, I think he could be insane value if he's fit, and I think he will be fit from what all reports were saying. We'll find out more from the Champions League. I think this guy is going to break FPL at 6.7 million. So, yeah.
For some reason, my computer's broken, and it's not letting me share a screen. So, and now I'm not responding. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
we can hear you.
You're loud and clear, mate.
All right. Well, my computer's shitting itself, so I actually can't do a whole lot. So you guys are gonna have to start running the stream.
That's all good. What other questions have we got? We have got some questions in chat. Let me scroll up. If you did just put a question in, definitely resend it as Paul's trying to work it out. We've got one from when Ick1. Here's a question for you, Dom, because you obviously can't see it because I can't put them on stream because I'm not the owner of the Streamlabs. But Yorker as to Krupi Jr., Grealish to Neto. I think that's very reactionary.
Very reactionary.
I'll let you go, Dom, because you are the Chelsea.
Very reactionary. because Neto will never do that in his life again. He's probably never scored another free kick for the rest of his career. Croupy Jr., that's just so reactionary. He only played because Evan Nielsen had an ankle injury. He scored 2 goals. Probably won't score another 2 goals for the rest of the year. Jock has been terrible, but I'm sure he'll bang in some goals eventually. And Grealish back into the 11, back assisting. So just hold him, save your transfers.
And Paul definitely agrees, considering how frozen he is on screen. But now we got a second Paul. Oh, yes. And now we got one Paul. There we go.
There we go.
All the Pauls. We just answered one Ikwan's question, Paul, but feel free to weigh in if you want to bring it up on stream if it works for you.
I think I did remember seeing it when I was scrolling.
Yeah, you were as a Croupy Jr. or Grealish.
Would not be doing this at all.
No. We basically said the same thing. We said that was very reactionary, which is all well and good. All
right, to answer Dom's question,
yep.
Let's try this again. Because you asked what were Everton's fixtures. So it's Tottenham at home, Sunderland away, Fulham home, Man United away, Newcastle home.
Good. Average.
It's good for Tarkovsky.
Jack
Grealish.
Assists galore.
Yeah. I think, and it's good for Njai as well. So that's why I like Njai in that scenario.
Locked in.
All right.
Yes.
What else we got?
All right, let me go back where we were.
Quite a few, yeah.
All right. Let's go with that one, Damo. Talk about structure for me whilst I find other ones.
Look, I definitely agree. I think we do have a standout striker at the moment. It is Mateta. Obviously, that's not knee-jerk. His dart has been insane. He just finally scored. I do think we will get to the point where Palace have a harder run of fixtures. We don't know who that next option is. Walter Marte's actually looked fantastic as well, too. I wouldn't mind owning him, and Newcastle have some really good run of fixtures, but he seems fixture-proof. I do think 4-5-1 will have merit. I just think that a striker is probably going to outscore that 4th defender spot / or that 5th midfielder cheap spot.
Yeah, I agree.
More times than not, if you're getting a 7.5 striker and you pick the right one. I don't think it's a case of, you have to keep that guy for 38 weeks. I think it's a case of switching. Like, I just switched to Bowen. Seems like a mistake for now, but he might go bang in a hat-trick with the good fixtures. Who knows, right? But it's about getting that spot, the right spot. I still think the best way moving forward is going to be 3-5-2, 4-3-3, something along those lines. There will be a week sometime this year where I'm probably even going to play 5-3-2 or something like that, because there's going to be a week where all 5 defenders have good fixtures, good for DEFCON. And yeah, I like that we're getting this question a lot. There's multiple ways to attack the structure this year. It's not just like, the meta's 3-5-2, that's what you're playing. The meta's 3-4-3, that's what you're playing. So yeah. I think it's great that we're getting these questions, and very well done by the fantasy creators.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's go. 7, what are your thoughts on this? Salah plus Watkins and Anderson to Saka, Bruno, Haaland, and a 4 million defender? To be honest, I actually really like it.
Yeah, I think it's time to bin Salah off. Time to bin Watkins off was probably a couple of weeks ago. Anderson,
Salah should have been gone.
Yeah, Anderson, it sounds like it's not a bad green strain, and he probably only needs a week out, and he might be good for Wolves. If he's good for Wolves...
That's the other Anderson, I think.
No, he
spelt it wrong then. Sorry, he spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
Because Anderson is the defender and Anderson is the midfielder.
Correct. Anyhow, I think there's a lot of good 4.0s to go to. Alderete is 4.1. If we're being semantic, still 4 mil defender, in the bracket. Mukiele still 4. Looks really good. You've got Esteve that looks really good at 4. Don't know if he's gone up to 4.1. You got a few, right? I think it's a very sound move. Only thing I would say with that is if you can somehow keep Anderson, if he's going to be fit for this Wolves fixture, because I think it's a really good fixture to have of a Fulham defender.
If he's going to a 4 million defender, then he needs the money.
Yeah. Is there another way that you could do it?
No, if you're going Haaland and Saka.
Yeah, interesting. Anyhow.
Dom, Roofs or Mukiele? Are you going the defender or the goalkeeper here?
Go to keeper. Mukiele would never do that again.
He's a DC beast, though.
The DC beast, they all are. Even is it Dan whom? What's his name?
Ballard.
Hume, yeah.
Yeah, just
they're all good back there.
I'd rather pay up for Roofs and have one. I think that's where I'd go as well. I don't think there's better value in the goalkeepers than him, where I think there's other 4 million defenders where Roos is a standalone 4.6 million keeper, where everyone else is in the 5s and 5.6s. So that's my thought. Cows on bench boost. I 100% would keep Reinders, I think. I don't think I'd spend the transfer for the bench boost with Caicedo coming off an injury as well. So
Champions League as well. Where I think Caicedo plays, or I think Reinders gets the rest, personally.
I would wait for Champions League, Cal.
And that.
If Caicedo comes off the bench and plays minutes off the bench, I don't know who they're playing tomorrow, to be fair, Dom. Don't know what your Champions League fixtures look like.
Have some average.
It's the same with Enzo. They play minutes. Or if they start and play 60. To me, that means they're playing against Sunderland at home. I would much rather move Reinders to Caicedo on bench boost to get those points on your bench than bench Reinders against.
City have Dortmund at home. Sorry. No, City have Villarreal away, Chelsea home to Ajax.
Yeah, so I think this is one to wait and see, and whatever your preference is, I think the move is fine. You can hold Reinders. I think it's a perfectly fine hold. Or if you want the excuse to move him because he's been blanking. Even though people need to remember he's only 5.7 mil. He's meant to blank a lot. Caicedo seems like a good option too against Sunderland, who've been pretty good defensively and can go forward. So should be some DC for him in that game.
Yeah, I agree. Play Raya or Dubravka and then play one of Gw9 Sarr and Richards. I still find it hard not to play Raya. I think if you're paying that much for Raya, you got to play him. Like, I know Dubravka plays Wolves, but is that game going to be a bit more open than normal because Burnley probably think they can go and win? Play one of Gw9 Sarr and Richards. It's at Emirates. Yeah, I don't know. I'd go the attacker there.
I would play Sarr because historically in these bigger fixtures, he loves going on the counter and scoring. He did that a lot last year. So that's why he's in my team. I actually am benching the guy that just scored a hat-trick this week as it stands. So I'm benching Mateta.
You're not doing that.
Playing Sarr as
You're
it
not
stands.
doing that.
That's currently what my team's lined up because Sarr's better on the break. But
deadline, you won't be doing that.
Yeah, to be fair, my plan is actually to go Raya to Roos, Anderson to Timber, and bench Sarr and Mateta. Because I just think Arsenal are that good defensively. But what I'm trying to say here is if you get a leak or we see Guiu with minutes and he starts to play 60, 65 against Ajax, I would say start Guiu because it's the Sunderland fixture. And if he starts in the 9 against Sunderland, even though Sunderland have been pretty good defensively, the fixture's too good to ignore. So, yeah, I think it's Guiu if you get a understanding that he's going to start on the weekend, which I think he might, personally.
All right, we've got an interesting comment from Ikwan again. So he's got 5 free transfers. So he was going Gyökeres and Grealish.
Mini wildcard week.
I'd almost rather just spaff like 4 of them and just restructure. So, like I wouldn't be I mean, you probably could sell Gyökeres then, but I don't know. It feels dirty selling Gyökeres. I don't know why, but I'm not the person to ask. I wouldn't be selling Tarkowski unless it's part of getting like a Timber or a real elite option. Anthony's fine. Paqueta I'd get rid of if you're going to restructure. I just don't think West Ham are going to score enough goals for him to be value. You know, maybe is it a Gyökeres and Paqueta move, you know, but then where are you going? I actually don't even know. Without going to like Mateta, you know, Ismail, it's still a week early for me. Like it's,
it is.
Is it like, are you prioritizing Sunderland defense maybe? Like, you know, what are the other ways we can just use a transfer this week in order to make it happen? I don't know the rest of your team won as well, but I don't really know where I would be going. Thoughts, Damo? Like, we don't know his full team either.
Yeah, correct. I think by the sounds of it, he's in a really good spot in terms of transfers. He's got 5 free transfers. I think when you get to 5, you just want to always make at least 1 transfer each week and just optimize your team with a good fixture. Probably the best fixture to target is
Burnley.
Wolves is playing Burnley, so it's like tough. Bowen's playing Leeds. That's tough. I'm not too sure. I almost want to say that you probably want to get a Bournemouth asset in against Forest because I don't know what they're going to be like on the game, but it is under Dyche, so maybe a bit different. I feel like making 1 transfer is good, right? Whatever the best transfer is. But I wouldn't go and, especially if you got to remember, you can hold your transfers through your wild cards. So you don't have to use all 5 because it gets reset to 1 anyway. So If you're planning a wildcard in the next couple of weeks, you might as well use 1 or 2, roll, get four free transfers. Like, I'm 4 free transfers and just play my wildcard myself. So it's a really good spot to be in one. I wouldn't go wasting the transfers, but if you're already on 5, I would pick one guy that you're like, I'm unhappy with you, and I can go get this guy that's going to start for me and has got a really good fixture. That's what I would do.
Yeah, man, it might even create some money in the bank for future moves if you need it as well. So that's what I would be doing. So I think that is where we're going to leave it because we are well over an hour. Actually, what's the best defender option for 5.9? It's a very interesting
Timber for now. Timber for now before he goes up.
Definitely Timber. Yeah,
Nico O'Reilly.
Yeah.
No, Timber for me, 100%. Very much. And we'll finish off on Harry. Can we go against the robot? No. No, you cannot.
Do not ever take that armband off of him.
I think if there's going to be a week, Palace have looked really leaky defensively. You could go a Saka if you really wanted to.
Nah.
But
I expect Palace to just go back to old school Palace and make it very hard for Arsenal at the Emirates.
Leave it on the robot because he's a freak.
We'll not be doing that. All right, that is where we're going to leave it for tonight, everybody. Hopefully you have managed to get some enjoyment out of tonight. Make sure you do hit the like button on the way out. We are sitting on 18, so if a couple of you could hit say Saka, by the way, may have said
Salah.
I
may have said Salah by accident for captaincy. I meant Saka. But yeah.
Definitely Salah.
Yeah. If a couple of you could hit the like button, that would be great. We will not see you next Tuesday. We are having a week off because yours truly is going to be out of the country. So that is that. So we'll see you guys in a fortnight, all going well. Dom will be active over on Twitter, probably more than I will be over on YouTube and TikTok. I'll try and get some stuff up whilst I'm away, but no guarantees that it's going to be the normal production quality. Damo's got his hand up like a school.
Yeah, and very briefly, whilst it is a game week off, I do have FM26 coming out on Friday. So I will be live over at Damo_23. If you guys do want some sort of Premier League talk while I am probably playing with, I think, Man United, my beta save. So definitely come and check that out.
Perfect. On that note, we'll see you guys in a fortnight, but make sure you do check us out on all those different platforms over Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye.